afternoon, class. How are we all doing today? Hope everything's well. For myself personally, I'm hanging in there like a loose tooth, but hopefully you're all doing well. Today, my group and I are going to be presenting on the topic stress and anxiety, and specifically, the target audience is going to be for 6th grade students. And my name is Francois, with an SWA at the end, not a COIS, and I'm going to be kicking off our presentation here. Today, I'm going to be here to talk about the goals, the objectives, and the purpose of why we're going to be going over this lesson. So, to start off with the goal of this presentation is to allow all students in class to be more aware of situations that might create stress, might create anxiety, and we're going to try to review how to cope with these, battling stress and anxiety in general. Now, our objectives. Specifically, we're going to have 2 objectives that we're going to focus on. We're going to have students to be able to describe 2 or 3 strategies that they are going to use in class when they have to cope with stress. And then we're going to have students explore and identify specific situations that make them stressed inside and outside of the classroom during our art gallery, where students will be walking around and they will determine how they feel based off of specific scenarios. Now, to get into the presentation, why this presentation is relevant to you as 6th graders. First of all individuals are going to face some sort of stress and anxiety throughout their day. Look where we are now. I'm sure everyone is, transitioning into a new lifestyle. I'm sure others are happy that they don't have to get up for this class at 8:30 in the morning. And I'm sure others would like to be in school. Everyone else is different. Everyone has different things that stress them out, which is important, which we'll review later. But the purpose of this presentation is to learn about how to better cope with stress and try to reduce anxiety. And this is going to, help you individuals in general remain more focused, happier, and end up having a more healthier lifestyle. Now, I'm going to review 3 questions. I'm going to give you 3 questions, 3 multiple choice questions. I'm going to review the answers and give you a few seconds to go over the question, and then I will give you the answer and then elaborate. So let me pull up my questions on my laptop. Okay. From the ages 6 to 11, what % of children do you think are diagnosed with an anxiety disorder? A, 2%, B, 5%, C, 7%, D, 12%. The answer is actually 7%. 7% of individuals from the ages of 6 to 11 are diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. Now, to continue, from 12 to 17 years, what % of children do you think are diagnosed with an anxiety disorder? A, 10%, B, 15%, C, 18%, D, 20%. Got a tough crowd, man. No one's raising their hand or anything. I don't see it. Dr. Donnelly, got a quiet class today. The answer is going to be 11% on this one, for those of you that are participating. And this is important to note that from 12 to 17, it raises to 11%. From 6 to 11, it was floating around 7%. So this is important to notice that there's an increase from age. So we need to try to, become more aware that anxiety and stress is affecting the lives of these students. These 6th grade students who are 12 are going to be starting to, maybe face more challenges that will create more stress or anxiety for them. And I wanted to also note that this is important because these are the only diagnosed cases. These are not the undiagnosed students who are going under the radar. Now finally, what % of 3 to 17-year-olds receive treatment for anxiety and stress reduction? A, 40%, B, 50%, C, 60%, or D, 70%? The answer is 60%. So, out of all the people that are diagnosed and are receiving help, 40% of these people are not receiving help. And that is huge. That they are stressed out, they are anxious, and they are unable to cope with these situations. So this is why this presentation is important. While everyone does get stressed, there are many students who struggle to cope with it, and in all honesty, we all could use ways to learn how to relax. And that's what this presentation is going to be about today, teaching individuals how to relax and trying to recognize maybe what situations may stress themselves out and what situations, they could handle. And without further ado, I'm going to kick it off to Nelson.
Good morning, class.
Good morning.
I'm Mr. Echandi. I would like for each of you to please stand up and move to the center of the classroom and form a circle for our first activity. Perfect. Now, I would like for each of you to grab two handles of this parachute and move back until the parachute is completely open. Okay, good job. I'm going to place 6 plastic eggs in the center of this parachute, which represent different stresses in your life. You can imagine each egg to be whatever problems or situations in life that have made you feel overwhelmed or anxious. Now, when I say begin, I want you to start waving the parachute up and down at a fast pace so that the eggs are bouncing around. Ready, go. Should bounce around faster, good. Keep bouncing. Stop. Okay, now, can you control the problems in your life if you're moving at a fast pace like that? What do you think, Savannah?
No.
What about you, Jacob?
No.
No? Okay. Now, when I say go, I want you to take deep breaths and wave the parachute at a much slower pace. Try keeping the eggs in the center of the parachute without bouncing around too much. Ready, go. Now stop. Would someone please tell us the difference between both movements and what you think is the more effective way of dealing with the stress or anxiety in our life?
I'll go. So when everything's moving too fast and you try to take it all at once, it's going to be hard to handle and it's going to become overwhelming. But when you take a problem and you have a bunch of problems and you just solve your problem just step by step, it'll be much easier.
One at a time. Thank you, Jacob. What do you think, Savannah?
I think it's easier if you do one problem at a time, so it's not overwhelming.
Good job. Now I would like for each of you to read each slip. Each slip has a tip that will help you learn how to better deal with the stressful and anxious situations in your life. Go ahead, Savannah.
Be patient and exercise daily.
Jacob.
Take a time out and accept that you cannot control everything.
Okay, Savannah.
Do your best and talk to someone.
Get enough sleep and take deep breaths. Wait, I need to
Good.
All right.
Good, Savannah.
There's 3.
Learn what triggers your anxiety and maintain a positive attitude.
And then find forms of exercise that are fun and enjoyable. And set small daily goals.
Thank you for participating. Now I turn it over to Miss Chelsea with a K.
Okay, so now we are going to talk about different ways that you can reduce stress and anxiety. So I actually did some research myself, and I found a website called Anxiety and Depression Association of America. And on that website, they listed a bunch of different tips that you could do to reduce stress and anxiety. So the first one that they said was take a timeout. So basically taking a time out means that you kind of step away from the situation and you do something that you enjoy, something that you really like to do. So that could be doing yoga, listening to music, you could go for a run, you could do anything that you enjoy, bake, cook, anything. So taking that step back can really help you to kind of forget the stressful situation for a second and take that time out needed to kind of reevaluate the situation and forget it for a while. Another really important thing is getting enough sleep. So sleep is important to your health regardless. On a daily basis, it's very important to get enough sleep. But especially when you're stressed out, your body gets so worn out and weak. So getting enough sleep is definitely something that you want to do when you're feeling anxious. Taking deep breaths. So this is something that everyone should do. It's something that I do a lot when I feel anxious or stressed out. I kind of just stop what I'm doing, and you take a deep breath in and exhale out. So what I like to do is I take an inhale. I inhale for 5 seconds, and then I exhale for 7 seconds. And just one deep breath can really reduce a lot of stress. And you want to do your best. That's another thing. Instead of, striving for perfection, nobody's perfect, nothing's perfect, so instead of looking for perfection, you just kind of have to accept, okay, I'm going to do my best, and that'll definitely reduce stress, anxiety, especially when it comes to school. Another thing you want to do is maintain a positive attitude. I know you're always hearing negative things, whether it's on social media, from peers, just things that are going on around in the world, especially now. It's very easy to get a negative mindset, but if you keep a positive attitude, that's something that will definitely help reduce stress and anxiety, and it kind of changes your perception of what your stress and anxiety is. If you have a positive attitude, you can say, okay, you know what, I'm not going to let this stress me out, I'm going to do this, step by step. So, what are some other ways that you think that you reduce your stress and anxiety on a daily basis? Yes.
I like to sketch in my sketchbook and also paint.
Okay, so you like art.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah. Like Samantha just said, she likes to sketch, draw, even paint, so that's something that I'm assuming she really likes to do, something that she enjoys. So anything that you enjoy and you're feeling stressed out, you could just go to that thing, do it, and before you know it, your stress and anxiety will obviously be reduced because you're forgetting about what triggers your stress and anxiety, and you're doing something that you like. So that's definitely important to step away from that and kind of reevaluate the situation, take a moment, and then get back to it when you're ready. Okay, what else? Yes.
I like to play games on my phone.
Games on your phone. Okay, so yeah, there's a bunch of different apps. There's like brain games that you could do on your phone that could get your mind still working, but again, anything that takes your mind off of what stresses you out can really help. Who thinks that fitness helps reduce stress and anxiety? Okay, yes, you're right. Fitness definitely does reduce stress and anxiety. What are some things that you think you could do to kind of make fitness more fun and more enjoyable so that it can reduce your stress and anxiety? Yes.
You can exercise with a partner.
Exercise with a partner, okay. So, yeah, I know for me, when I have somebody to work out with, I'm much more motivated to actually work out. Good, what else? What about listening to music when you are working out? That's something that definitely works for me. So I know there was one point in time where my headphones broke and I tried going to the gym and I was like, oh my god, like I cannot work out without my headphones. So music definitely helps. And then there's also, again, whatever you enjoy, whatever works for you. Yes?
I like going on walks with my dog.
Going on walks with your dog. Okay, yeah. So a walk can definitely be more enjoyable if you bring your dog along. So anything that makes working out more enjoyable, you definitely want to do that because fitness in general does reduce your stress and anxiety. Another thing really quickly, I actually have a method that I used to use when I was feeling a lot of anxiety and stress. It's called the Calm Cup. So my sister, actually, my older sister, she always dealt with a lot of stress and anxiety. So at one point after her, I started feeling stress and anxiety, and I went to her and I asked her, hey, listen, like, what works for you? Help me, because I don't want to feel like this anymore. I need, like, a way that's gonna reduce my anxiety. I didn't really know what to do. So she told me to make a calm cup. You basically just get any cup. Mine's really old, so it used to say calm cup, but the letters fell off. So you basically just get a cup, and then you get a bunch of Post-it notes. See, mine are all, like, stacked together. And you basically just think of, like, all good memories, funny memories, things that you're grateful for, anything that makes you happy. And whenever you feel that stress and anxiety, you could simply just take out a Post-it note, open it up, and for me, it worked for me. So again, I know that different methods work for different people, but this is something that worked for me, so maybe it can work for you. It's definitely a really good tool, I think, and you could I put mine in my car because I feel that my stress and anxiety happens a lot in my car when I'm driving to somewhere that is making me anxious. So again, you could put anywhere you want, and that's just another method that you could use. You could go on Pinterest, Google, there's so many different ideas, and you kind of just trial and error and see what works for you, but you're not alone. You could talk it out, talk to somebody, your teacher, coach, sibling, mother, father, anybody. More people than you think go through stress and anxiety, so don't worry. And now we're going to actually switch over to Miss Christina, who's going to do an activity with everybody.
Okay, thanks Kelsey. So now we're going to apply all the coping strategies that Kelsey just taught us into our next activity. The next activity we're going to do is a art gallery walk, but since we're not in a classroom and I can't hang all of the pictures up on the wall, I'm just going to hold them up like this. So, Max, I'm going to hold all the pictures up, and you're going to list 2 to 3 feelings that you might encounter during these stressful situations, and then after you write down your feelings, you're going to write 1 to 2 coping strategies that Kelsey just taught you and write them down. So I want you to think about personalizing the strategies, think about yourself and not necessarily the rest of the class. Okay? So the first picture is how you might feel when you're at a doctor's appointment in the waiting room. So it could be a dentist, it could be like going to your pediatrician, it could be anything that might be stressful for you. And then when you're ready, give me a thumbs up so I know I can move on to the next one.
Okay.
And one more time. Okay, so our next situation is death of a loved one. So again, 2 to 3 feelings you might feel during this circumstance, and then how you might cope with it. Ready?
Yep.
Okay. The next one is the first day of school. So, what are some feelings that you might be feeling on the first day of school? It could be at the same school, it could be at a new school, anything that might make you feel stressed out. Ready?
Almost.
Okay. And the last picture that we're going to go through is how you might feel on a roller coaster or at an amusement park. So, again, you can look at it. So this is kind of before you go on the roller coaster. And then when you're done, we're going to go over it as a class out loud.
Okay.
Okay. So now we're going to go through all of our situations. So Max, for the doctor's appointment, what were some feelings that you were thinking about?
I said I'd be nervous, scared, and maybe even sweaty.
Okay. And so what were some of the coping strategies that you thought would work for you?
First thing was deep breathing, just trying to calm myself down. And then second would be distracting myself, maybe watching some TV or reading a magazine.
Good, because those are all things you could distract yourself with at the doctor's office.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's move on to the next one. So death of a loved one, what were some feelings there, looking at that picture?
First one I put was feeling disconnected.
So what do you mean by that?
Just like kind of lonely,
Okay.
and apart from everyone else. The second one I said was sad. And then the third one I said was tired.
And tired because you're emotionally
Yeah,
drained?
emotionally drained, yeah.
Okay. And what were two coping strategies that you came up with?
The first one I thought about should be kind of a little difficult, but acknowledging my emotions. Just thinking about what's going on and how I could deal with it better. And another one that is probably a little easier would be exercising, just going and burning off some steam, maybe.
Good. So what do you like to do in terms of exercising to make you feel better?
Maybe just go on a long run.
Okay. Well, those are good examples. So let's move on to the next one. So the first day of school.
First thing I'd probably feel is pretty under pressure. Just, everything's going on. It's a new school year. Gotta make good impressions. Gotta make some friends. But I'd also feel pretty excited that I'm back and getting back to learning and seeing people every day.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Recess is always fun. Last thing would be that I was curious, just, seeing what the new year is going to bring, what kind of work I'll be doing, and things like that. Yeah.
How are you going to cope with the first day of school?
Definitely use positive thinking and just, being confident that it's going to go really well and that I'll enjoy myself. And also talking to somebody, making some friends, just make the day go by better, make me enjoy myself a little bit more.
Awesome. So let's go to the last one, the roller coaster. How do you usually feel when you're about to get on a roller coaster?
I'd say I feel pretty fearful or scared. Just, you don't know what's going to happen. So yeah, I'd be scared. But my heart would be racing too, so that was my other feeling.
An excitement or fear?
I'd say maybe a little bit of both. Because I'm excited to go on the ride, but at the same time, it's you can't help but be a little scared. And then to cope with that, I'd say I'd do some deep breathing, and just try to relax myself a little bit before the ride starts. And maybe do a little meditation, just close my eyes and just think about how it's going to be a fun ride. And that afterwards, I can
look
go,
at the picture.
Yeah, go look at the picture, yeah. Maybe get some, like ice cream or something, too.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So those were all really good examples of coping strategies to use. And again, if we were in a real classroom, these would be hanging up along the walls and we would be walking around, making it very interactive. So thank you, Max, for sharing your coping strategies. And now Chris is going to lead us into a class discussion.
My name is Chris. So at this point in the lesson, I'm here to just kind of wrap up and just sum up everything of what we did during this whole lesson based on stress and anxiety. So for this part, I'm going to ask you guys a series of questions, and whatever you feel is best to answer those questions that I give out, just jot them down real quick. So all you're going to need is a notebook and a pencil or pen, whatever you feel more comfortable writing with. So like I said, they don't even have to be in complete sentences. So like for this first one, it's what is 3 ways that we talked about to manage stress? So quickly, 1, 2, 3, bang, 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 right? I'll give you some examples. So some 3 ways that we talked about that we can manage stress. We said we can use a stress ball, you can go exercise, you can talk to someone. There's plenty of other ways. So that's just 3 of them. So any 3 that you feel is best serving for you, just write them down, all right? So, second question, talking about people you can talk to. Who are 3 people that you feel like you can talk to when you want to talk about your stress and anxiety? All right? So again, 1, 2, 3, boom, 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 write them down. So some 3 people, another example I'll give, you could talk to a parent, a guardian, you could talk to a friend, principal, even a teacher. Perfect examples right there, okay? So, number 3, what causes stress in your life, right? I know we all have different stresses in our life. Just write down what you feel personally is the most stressful thing going on in your life today, right? So, again, could be schoolwork, could be responsibilities, could be family life, could be anything, right? So just write them on down. All right, I'll give you a couple minutes because that one might be a little bit longer of a answer to give. All right. So then going into this one, what was the goal of Nelson's activity with the parachute that we showed before? All right. What do you feel like is the goal behind that? Write that one down for number 4. What was the goal of Nelson's parachute activity that we did? All right, so for that one, we said that, remember we talked about managing a bunch of things at once can often be hectic and crazy. So how Nelson had a bunch of the eggs in there, he was flapping the parachute with his kids, all the eggs were going all over the place because there was so much going on at once. But when you take a step back and you slow it down and manage each problem one by one, it becomes a lot more manageable and easier for you to do. All right. So going off of that, what was the goal of Christina's activity with the art gallery? So if anyone can give me the answer to that. All right, so write that down again. What do you feel like was the goal behind showing you those pictures, and what were we trying to get our point across in doing that? All right. So the goal for Christina's art gallery activity was to show that throughout life, there's going to be different scenarios that is going to make you feel a certain way. You'll feel different emotions throughout your life based on the scenarios that you're put in. And based off these scenarios that you're in is going to have to be different coping mechanisms and different emotions that you're going to feel. So she had a death in the family. That's going to be a hard emotion to feel. You know, it's a hard topic to talk about. So based off of these other scenarios that she was showing with the pictures will be examples of different coping mechanisms and different emotions feel throughout your life. All right. So some other questions. What were some emotions that you felt today? So what were some emotions that you felt throughout the entire lesson? You could say happy, say sad, you could say nervous, could be anything. So I'll let you just jot 3 of them down. What are 3 things you learned about in today's lesson? So you're thinking to yourself, oh, hey, you know what? I never knew that I could meditate to relieve anxiety and stress. So write that down. Okay? And our last one here, what is something that you did not fully understand or feel like you need to hear one more time so you fully understand it? What is something that you didn't fully grasp? Something you would like us as teachers to go over? Just anything you'd like to write down there. All right. And that's about it. So if you answer all these questions, you'll have your sheet answered. And if you have any other questions, you can send us a picture of the sheet with the answers and email them to us, and we will be happy to help you in any way or shape possible we can. I know this is crazy times, and I hope everyone's safe. So enjoy quarantine the best you can, and thank you all for listening to our lesson plan on stress and anxiety.